When deciding between primary school teaching and secondary, I was torn. In the end, my love for numbers won, and I am now undertaking secondary teaching, with my two teaching areas being mathematics and physics. I was trying to think of how I could explain my educational philosophy, and I was lost for ideas. My love for numbers triumphed yet again, and I will be using an equation for a straight line to explain my educational philosophy. I will need to explain a few points along this line first. These points will be practices I will incorporate into my pedagogies to achieve my overall educational philosophy.
The first point I will be discussing is relationships. Hooks discusses the importance of community in the classroom to create an environment where students feel safe and supported. This reflects Australian Standard 4. In order to create this environment, we need to build good student-teacher relationships, as well as school-home relationships. Gandhi states the importance of establishing rapport with our students to enable an environment where both student and teachers benefit and learn more. A few attributes I will be adapting to build this rapport are as follows. A positive school-home relationship has been proven to increase a student's social and emotional well-being, which directly relates to their academic success. In order to do this, we must communicate and engage our students' parents and carers, as stated in Standards 3.5 and 3.7. Here are a few communication skills that I will consider when communicating with parents. Now, let's plot this point. The second point I want to discuss is stereotypes. Our classrooms will have a diverse range of students in them. Even though some students may look the same, they will be very different. Each person comes from a different background, meaning they will have different virtual backpacks.
To represent this, I'd like to try a little activity. I'd like you to take 2 clinkers. Now, let's take a bite into our first clinker. What colour did you get? Take note of this. Now, take a bite into your second clinker. What colour did you get this time? Both of these clinkers look the same on the outside, but inside they were very different. And this is very similar to our students.
Let's look at the 7 key principles of post-structuralism. Meanings can become attached to these differences over a period of time and can become to appear normal or natural. This is where we see stereotypes and mythical norms form. It is easy for teachers to bring these perceptions and biases into the classroom. Stereotypes are often harmful representations of a group or individual, and it is our job as teachers to challenge these stereotypes to create an environment where all our students feel safe to participate. As mentioned earlier, this increase in social and emotional well-being will result in an increase in achievement. Now, let's plot this point.
The last point I wish to discuss is catering for diversity. As we discovered from our clinkers experiment, we know schools are full of diversity. This diversity shows that our classrooms are heterogeneous, and schools have a tendency to treat students more homogeneous. And if we bring this into the classroom, we'll find that the Australian curriculum will also become homogeneous.
I will undertake a few steps to ensure that I cater for diversity in my pedagogical practices. Step 1 is to ensure that I use both transformative and traditional text. Gandhi stresses the importance of challenging the views of traditional texts to incorporate culture and diversity. The second step I will take is to have high expectations for everyone in my classroom. This type of relationship will allow for genuine interactions where students will feel valued for who they are as a whole. Finally, I will adjust the curriculum in my classroom activities to include everyone. Social justice is being fair and just in the exact circumstances you are dealing with. For example, say you have an activity in the classroom that involves iPads, but 5 of your students couldn't afford one. Working the session to ensure these students have equal opportunity to access would be socially just.
By adjusting the way I use the curriculum and hidden curriculum, I hope to ensure all students have the same outcome. If we look at the following quote by Gandhi, we can see that it is not until we have social justice and understand to incorporate and cater for differences in our classrooms and schools will we fully comprehend the full depth and impact education can have on society. Now, let's plot this last point and see what we've got.
This point on relationships sits on the y-axis. This means it is our y-intercept, which is equal to c. If our journey with our students begins as a positive relationship, That is less distance we have to travel to achieve excellence. M is the gradient of our line, which is equal to rise over run. In this case, it is excellence over equity. This ratio allows me to understand the relationship between excellence and equity in terms of my application of the curriculum. Ultimately, by incorporating positive relationships, challenging stereotypes, and catering for difference, I hope to see the equity in my classroom increase, and with it the success of my students. This leaves me with my personal educational philosophy.